What is up, guys? Today we're working back on the Corrado. Got a bunch of things I want to get done. First thing on the list is rebuilding this O2A shift box for the Corrado. So yeah, I never did one before, but we'll see how that works out. Got new bushings for it. Like I mentioned last video, I got this grooving piece coming here, and that has not showed up yet. It's been 2 weeks since I ordered it, so not sure when that's coming, but at least put the shift boxes back in the car. I want to take the time here, just tidy up this area here, which I can't normally get to with the intercooler set up there. So we're just gonna tidy it up, we'll clean it real good, and yeah, just work on a few small things there. I'm gonna rerun some wires here that just clean it up real nice. We can put the car back down on the ground then, because I can do that when it's on the ground. We'll see how far we get today and stay along for the ride. We'll get started on this shift box here. So I ordered the bushings for a G60 Corrado through Urotuning, which it said that they don't actually work for the SLC Corrado, but I ordered it anyhow because from the picture it looked like it has pretty much all the bushings I need, at least the most important ones. And they both run the O2A transmission. I'm not sure, but in my head I just figured it must be pretty close. So we'll get started, we'll see how that works out. So stick along for the ride. Alrighty guys, so now that we got this apart here, definitely some carnage in there, so need to figure out what's going on here. I'm really happy with that though, that we saw some obvious carnage, because overall this shift box is actually really sweet. I figured I'd end up fixing that one and putting that one in, but I think we're actually going to keep this one in and maybe just rob some parts off this one. I'm actually, now that I put the stock one beside, it's actually pretty sweet. It's not a huge difference, but you can see this, how much shorter this shift is because of how this bracket, how much higher it is than this one. You can see how crazy long that is versus this one here. So yeah, definitely different there. So we'll get this figured out here. Now you can see kind of down in here, right in here is the one bushing that's totally gone. And yeah, so for sure we're going to replace that one. And as you can see right here, which might be kind of hard to see there even what's going on, but there shouldn't be any play right there right now. It's just this whole piece inside there is just flopping. These here are pretty tight. You can see a tiny bit of play there. This one here got a little bit of side to side there, but that's my number one problem. Also down in here, I think there's supposed to be a bushing. When I opened up the pan on there, you can see this was just laying in there. And I can't actually figure out quite where that goes, but it does feel tight here. So I think I'm gonna pull that off. We'll see how that looks, but I do have a matching one right there like that. So I think that's gonna go inside there. But basically, just gonna pull these two bolts and the two bolts on top, and should be able to pull this whole thing out. And I never did one of these, but it's pretty sweet to be able to see what goes on here. As you can see right here, so we got first and second, and then the reverse lockout, so you have to push down there. So I just love seeing how this stuff works. It's really cool. So yeah, we're gonna pull this apart here and start tearing it down, and we'll see what we figure out here. Alrighty guys, so we got this torn down here, and yeah, everything seems pretty sweet. There was a bunch of grease on everything, which is a good thing, but it also traps all the contaminants and everything in there too, because everything sticks to the grease. So got that all cleaned up, and I'm going to replace all the grease, and we're going to make that real sweet. So right down here, this is the number one bushing. That was the one that was totally gone. Wherever it's at here. Right here, there's this little cap that's going to go on there. It's a tiny little hole, so I don't know how we're going to get that on there. That might be a little bit interesting. And I don't have any to replace these, but they're pretty sweet, so we'll grease that up real good. I have one to replace that, so pretty much I'm just going to go through and replace all the bushings that I can. I think there's one spot where I'm going to stick a washer in, because there's just a big place, or we'll see once I put it back together. And yeah, I'm just going to grease it up real good, and we'll see how it goes. Alrighty guys, so after many trials and tribulations, we got this part done. Wow, this little plastic cap on here is absolutely awful to put on. If you guys want a more detailed video about how to do this, there's an awesome video. I forget who it's even by, but it's a G60 shifter rebuilding. He goes over everything. He has actually the correct kit for this, since this is a G60. And he mentioned using hot water. That definitely helped a lot. It was still difficult. And then I used this spring clip pliers here to kind of spread it, because the opening on the cap is tiny and it has to fit over that big ball. But yeah, definitely was a pain, but finally got that on there, and I can already tell how much tighter this thing's gonna fit, because yeah, that sloppiness is totally gone there. So that's really sweet. I greased everything up here. I'm using this synthetic grease right here. You want to be careful what grease you use. So any of these parts that have plastic bushings, I'm using synthetic grease. The synthetic will make the plastic bushings last so much longer. So that's just something to keep in mind there, what greases you're using. And then there's a couple parts here where it's going to be metal and metal, and that there I'm just using that like an actual, you know, more generic, like a wheel bearing grease for that. So we'll keep this going here. So right here, the spring, the Urotuning kit did come with one, but this one's actually quite a bit looser than the one that's on there, and it feels pretty sweet. So we're gonna keep that. That's cool. Right here, there's this bump stop here, which this whole part here, that's a B&M short shifter kit. So that's why this looks different than yours. And yeah, I don't have all the parts are slightly different for some of this. So yeah, I kept everything in here the same. This bump stop here, you can see that someone ground that off. So I wasn't quite sure what to do with that. Like if that should be like that, but yeah, I wasn't quite sure what to do. So if you guys have any thoughts on that, let me know. Another thing to think about here is right behind this bolt, it is slotted there, so you can move this up and down, but I figured that's something I could do once it's in the car. I lined it up exactly how it was. You can see the outline of the bolt head on there, so that's sweet. So the next thing right here, we're gonna stick this on here. That goes right in there, and I do have a new bushing for that. Another thing is, yeah, I have this here, and I'm not sure where that came from, but we're gonna keep slowly putting this back together. Alrighty guys, so as you can see, this came together really sweet. I put some different washers in here. Did a little bit of rigging, but I'm really happy with how it came out. This Urotuner, as I mentioned, this Urotuner bushing set, it's built specifically for a G60, so not everything here does match up like I kind of guessed, but most importantly it had that cap and a few other important bushings I needed, and the rest I greased up real sweet, put some washers in, that kind of stuff. But overall, most of them are pretty good anyhow. Just really happy. It got very tight. So that's really awesome. Cannot wait to get it in the car. So I kind of messed something up here. So there was this bolt, if I can find it. So there's this bolt that goes through here. And as you can see, you got the spring here for the reverse lockout. And it goes through there. Someone had just shoved the bolt in there. See how it's all chewed up there? They should have put a washer or something on there. So I was going to stick a washer on there. That way I could get it extra tight and it's not ruining the plastic like that. And as I pulled it out, you can see it just destroyed the threads on there. Couldn't figure out what was going on, but what I should have done is actually, when I took that out, you need to pull up on this, because there's like a, inside there, you can, I don't know if you can even see that, but inside of there, there's like a notch in there for the bolt, and since it was down all the way, the spring was pushing down, and just as it pulled it out, it just took the threads right off. So that's not cool. I mean, I have to get another bolt, but hey, other than that, it'll be super easy to get one at the hardware store. Other than that, came together really sweet. It's perfect time to stop for the day. I got to get some work done on the GLI and that kind of stuff. So it's perfect timing. So I'll get my new bolt and we'll continue this video as soon as I get that bolt, and we'll get this thing in the car. Hopefully my grooving parts will come real soon. I'm just super happy. I cannot wait to see how it's gonna drive. So thanks for watching. We'll fast forward now till I get that bolt. Alrighty guys, so we are back out in the shop. I got a brand new bolt today, so I stuck that in there today. As you can see, I put some washers on there and everything's back up together really sweet. Overall, just I'm really happy with how it turned out. Definitely much tighter than it was. So as I said before, the kit, it wasn't made specifically for this shift box because apparently they're not made, you can't find them for this car. I'm not sure. I just came across, I guess there's a Diesel Geek one, so maybe that one's better. I don't know, but from what I'm hearing, there's not much options for this car. So maybe put below if there are different options. You guys can discuss that. But for what I need it for, this worked out great because it was mostly just that cap that was going and the rest were pretty sweet. So I replaced like 3-4 other bushings, but overall not too much. And then I added a few washers and just greased things up and that sort. And I am very happy with how it came out. Tightened up super great. So cannot wait to put it in the car. So tonight, gonna stick it back in the car. Just quick show you guys how the underside looks here. You can see I just got that all greased up. So all these areas here where it's metal against metal, which speaking of that, I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be like a plastic piece on there. You guys can let me know. I'm not sure. My kit didn't have that and I didn't have one on here, but I feel like there's supposed to be. I don't know. But all the metal against metal, I put just regular grease on there. And as I mentioned before, all the plastic, I got synthetic grease on there. So yeah, came out really nice. So we're going to stick this back in the car tonight. I'm just going to temporarily hook up the transmission here. I'm still waiting on that grooving part. It's been forever, so, but at least I can hook it up and it's not that hard. So we're going to hook it up and at least I can see how it feels. I'm super excited to see how much different it is. I can stick my shields back up, which I cleaned up real sweet. Stick my exhaust on, get the car on the ground. So basically, whenever my part comes, all I gotta do is slap that on, put the intercooler, all the piping back on, and this car's ready to roll again. So super excited about that. So we're gonna stick this together and get to see exactly how this feels. I am super stoked because this shifter has been like this ever since I bought the car. It's been getting worse, and it's gonna totally transform the car if we can get that tightened down real sweet. So we'll get this going. Alrighty guys, so we got the shift box in the car, got the cables hooked up here. Here you can see the gear selector here, and this is the up, or the side to side right here. And as you can see here, this is why I'm getting that grooving piece, because it's totally busted. There's nothing even holding that on right there. The clip's totally gone, and the grooving one's gonna be metal, so it'll be way better. So at least got it hooked up so I can see how it feels in the car. There's things you can actually adjust the shifter there. We're gonna mess with that next time once the grooving piece comes, but at least now I just want to see how this thing's gonna feel. So got this stuck in here, looking good. All right, so got this in here, definitely much tighter than it was. Definitely needs some adjustment for sure. As you can see, so this is in third right now. There's still a bunch of side to side there. It's definitely better than it was. Hopefully once that is hooked up on the front of the car there properly, that'll reduce most of that. Yeah, definitely, like I said, it needs some adjusting. It's kind of hard to find these gears, but definitely tighter. So we'll mess around with that some more, but that is all for tonight, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully next time we'll actually have our parts here to finish the project up and get this thing back on the road again. Super pumped about that. As this COVID-19 stuff kind of clears, I think there's some car meets and some things coming up in the next few weeks, so I'm super excited and just stoked to finally get the car out for real this year. So yeah, I'm just super excited. Thanks so much for watching. We're going to go over this whole car, get some meats, and just have a lot of fun coming up in the next few months. So keep watching. See you guys next time. Peace.